everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. I'm still fighting a cold, so hopefully I can make it through this video without sneezing too much. I don't have a cough, but I have a horrible, awful sneeze, and sometimes I get in a sneezing fit and it won't go away. So we're going to cross our fingers and hope for the best with this video. I have taken allergy medicine and sinus medicine because I'm not quite sure exactly what it is that's had me in its grips for a little over a week now. So, but I decided I was going to give this a go. Thankfully, there's a little bit of coloring, so I can color and turn the volume off if I think I need to. Before I go on today's card, I wanted to show you this new kit. It's the Brighten Your Day kit. It is an all-inclusive kit, so you need nothing. I say that with the caveat that knock yourself out if you are a fan of this adhesive. So I would say you don't need anything but adhesive and some scissors because I don't like to use this. Although I will tell you that to make these cards I did because I was downstairs and I didn't have any adhesive. So I just went for it. So it makes 9 cards, 3 of each design. It comes with ribbon. It does have dimensionals. And you can see they have matching. I'll get the envelopes out. It has laser cuts, or at least one of the envelopes out. So we have this, and then this goes with the blue card. So you simply pop the laser cuts out and then you add the note. My cat's going to assist. Here's the fern one. It has some basic beige. And then here's the purple one. So if you need some quick cards or you want to give this, it'd be a perfect gift for like a teacher because they wouldn't need to add anything and they don't know how to stamp. The instructions are all in there. So it's easy to use, beautiful end results. So again, that's called Brighten Your Day Kit. Let me see if I can get her down. So for today's tutorial, I am going to use the Autumn Toile kit. It was the featured September card club for my online card club. And part of the reason I want to do today's card, well, they made it at my in-person camp, but also I'm going to use the Amber Autumn. So this suite has 2 stamp sets, 2 bundles. So for club, we used the autumn trees and then they could add on the Amber Autumn. But I wanted to show it to you because it has these beautiful fall autumn designs and there's so many ways that you can color them. So I am going to show you. First, I'll show you Card Club. I don't often show the cards that we make in Card Club. Fix my light there. I think my cat bumped over their little head. But I thought this month that might be kind of fun. So this one is on my channel. This was the advertisement for September Club, which is over. But stay tuned because as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to start working on my October Club. And then here were the projects that they got the supplies to make. And we decorate envelopes as well. So those were the 3 club cards. They make 2 of each design. They get all the paper. Oh, there's another one. That's the same. Then this was to show them the alternate stamp set so they could add on the bundle. When you're in my card club, you can add on the bundle, or if we have a bonus bundle that month, which this month we did, then you can add that on. And so whenever you add anything on in my card club, you just pay catalog or online price. So if it says it's $25, you pay $25. You don't pay the shipping and handling and tax because as a perk of being in my club, I pick that up for you. So this one you can see I colored in, and you can go watch this one with ink pads and Wink of Stella. And then this was their bonus club card. So those of them that added that on got it for this. This is on watercolor paper, and we used ink pads and watercolor on the watercolor paper. And so for today, I'm going to use blends. I'm going to use the other stamp set. Those 2 were with the pumpkin. Today I'm going to use the acorns, which actually they used both. We cut them apart on the pumpkin card I just showed you. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to color it with the blends just to show you one more way. So whatever you have will work. So for my card base, I have Cajun Craze, which is in a lot of our papers this season, and it's one of my favorite colors. So I've been happy to see lots of Cajun Craze. It kind of disappears once fall's over. I'm trying to think if it's in any of the Christmas papers this year. And then it kind of doesn't see an appearance in spring. Sometimes it's in summer papers, but it is a really nice autumn color. And then here is the Autumn Toile paper, which is cut 4 by 5 1/4. And then I just took, all I did was follow along one of these lines. I think this one's a little bit bigger than my sample, but I just flipped that piece over so that way we have a fun design. Then this is also part of that suite. It is the earth, I think it's called earth, I can't talk because of my stuffy nose. Metallic paper, but it is in that suite. And then I'm going to do my stamping on basic beige because it's a neutral. And you can stamp and color on any of our colors. It doesn't have to be white or vanilla or watercolor. And I'm going to use Memento because you have to if you're going to use blends. If you use Stays On and you go to color, it's just going to erase it. Pop this off. I like to ink my stamps that are a little bit larger and have pretty detailed designs. I like to ink them this way. That way you can control how hard you're pressing and you don't get too much ink, and you most certainly don't get it on all the edges. Although this one has a die, so if it was on the edges, they'd get cut off. And then we'll stamp that. I'll get the lid off while I put the... So you get this beautiful image, and then I have one of the greetings from the set. I'll just go ahead and stamp that. It says, blessed to have you in my life. So it makes a perfect Thanksgiving card because then after it, you can write Happy Thanksgiving. Because one of the things we're most thankful for, right, is the people that we have in our lives that we love. Then I'm going to go back to my acorn. Get it again. And then let's stamp it here. Just so the inside of our card is decorated. I'm not going to color that or anything. So that's all of the stamping for this card. Like I said, when we did the pumpkin one, we stamped, the pumpkin is the focal, and then we cut this one apart. So to color this, here are the colors that I have chosen because I wanted it to match the paper. So here's our paper. Let's pull this back over here. So we have Cajun, obviously, and then we have some espresso, some gray granite, and some basic beige. At least that's what it looks like to me. So I'm going to do, let's do the acorns first. So I want those. These are all mixed up from pulling them out of my camp bucket. I didn't end up actually using any espresso on the card because I wanted the paper to be dark and these to be lighter. So let's start. I don't remember exactly how I did it because it was last week. Let's do light gray granite. And we'll brush that on the middle of our acorns. And then let's do light crumb cake. I'm going to switch to... And of course, all the colors change just a little bit because we're coloring on the basic beige and not on a white or vanilla. So for this, I'm following along where the shading marks are on the stamp. And then I'm going to give a brush of the light crumb cake through there. Now let's go to our dark crumb cake, which I have 2 of those. I'll get my stem, and then I'm going to go around a little bit, and then I'm just going to add a couple of streaks of the dark to that. And then let's get our dark gray granite. Go back in here and do our acorn hat. And just add a little bit of shading in the stem with that. And I'll go back to my light gray granite. Kind of shade that in, and that way I can kind of pull into that center, which is light gray granite. So I don't really need to blend it because it'll blend itself. So there's our acorns. I might put just a dab more of the dark crumb cake just around the edges to kind of highlight those caps. That looks good. Now to do these leaves, I love working with the blends in the leaves because you can get it to be all modeled like a real true autumn leaf might be. So I want it to mostly be Cajun, but I needed some more color. So I'm going to use my peach, my petal pink as the blend at the end. So let's start with our light Timid Tiger. And I'm going to do the brush tip. Kind of brush that through here. And then let's do our dark Timid Tiger. I'm going to pull this kind of along those veins. And then let's do our light Cajun Craze. With this, I'm going to not follow along anything on the stamp. I'm just going to kind of let the Cajun be where the sunshine got the leaves. Hopefully we'll get some rain and maybe some cooler temperatures here so we can have an autumn, because right now it's like summer out there still. And then this is my dark Cajun Craze, and this is where I'm going to go into most all of my tips. If I don't get one, that's okay. Remember that your blends can bleed, so don't go right over the edge of your stamping because it could bleed outside of that, especially here in a minute when I add some more ink, because it all has to go somewhere. Some of it goes underneath your paper. You can see I'm working on scrap, especially when you're coloring this much. Now on this top one, I am going to use my dark petal pink and blend that all around. Then we flip this around the other way and use this tip, because this will start to erase. It doesn't really erase them. It blends together all of the lines. You can see them disappear. See this line right here? Add some more ink and it all fades into something else. Then I'm going to get my dark crumb cake. And I'm just going to add a couple of spots where this leaf didn't quite get all the beautiful colors. It got a little bit of brown. Okay, so that's that one. Now I'm going to change to my light petal pink to blend this one. That'll just help each of our leaves, especially right here at where they touch, look a teeny bit different so they don't bleed right on top of each other. I push really hard on my blends. That's why they squeak. It's not because they're empty. It's just because I push hard. Now let's get the light crumb cake. Let's do gray granite. No, I don't like crumb cake. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Hey, so obviously you can keep coloring forever, which sometimes is my downfall because I do love to color. I am going to go back and add a little bit more of the dark crumb cake. And you can see that as you layer the colors, they get darker. On that. Just right here where there's a lot of shading on that acorn, we'll do that. And then one more time with the granite. keep picking up the wrong ones like granite. I'll just blend that in where I added that. So now I have the die that will cut this out, and then the bundle comes with a leaf and a little sprig of like wheat, and I'm going to run those through on this metallic piece here. Let's go back to our Cajun piece. We're gonna add some stuff to it, but most of it's gonna go straight on this card. I'm gonna start with this piece here. And then we'll add this here and just butt it right up against, because since it was 4 by 5 1/4, if you just piece them together, it will look fine. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive here. And then this is the ribbon that is part of the suite, but I'm not going to tie it. I'm just going to use it for some texture. Just make sure some of it sticks in all of your sticky. And then let's grab some dimensionals. And instead of putting them on this piece here, I'm going to stick the first couple of them where I know they're holding onto the ribbon. And then I have our 2 metallic pieces. This color looks really pretty with the Cajun Craze. We have those. I am going to stick some adhesive on the back of here. And then let's line these up so it covers up. And this will stick to where I put that adhesive so it's raised up. Whoops. A little bit of that showing. I'm going to rearrange these a bit. Take this one off and move it down. There we go. And maybe move this one up a fraction. Now I'm doing 2 things at once. I put the adhesive on to see where I wanted these to go, and so put this here. Have this one come. How about there? I don't know where they are on my original card. Like I said, that was last week. I've had a weekend since then. So that looks good. But then this way you know that your ribbon's going to stay and it didn't take a ton of adhesive, because if you put too much down there, it's very easy for it to go so big that it's no longer behind that. Then on the other one, I did use the embellishments that are part of the suite. So those would be the streaked dots. These are the Cajun Craze in gold, and I decided to use them because I have this little strip of them left from cutting them for a class. So this way I can use them up and they won't go to waste. And they look equally as good because they're Cajun Craze. They're all the large ones, which normally I would kind of mix the sizes because you can see there's 3 sizes, but that was what was left from my try it class. Slide that back in here. So here's this one. Let's see how the coloring compares to the one that I have buried over here. Pretty similar. They look like they could have come from the same tree, same group of acorns, and you can see those are the streaked dots. Actually, they look pretty similar in coloring. This one has more dark crumb cake on the acorn. But one thing I want to show you now is, so this is the stamp set with the blends, and we'll go back and compare the other ones. This is the stamp set if you color it in with Wink of Stella and ink pads. And then this was ink pads on watercolor paper with a paint, oh my goodness, the cold medicine, the paint, not the water painter. I knew it would come to me. So you can use any of the techniques that you want. So that's, if you want this, then go grab it and put it in your cart. And get ready to make some fun fall projects. And make sure you visit my website so you can see the thank you gifts that I have each and every month. Have a great one. Bye.